What's up, bros? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to another product spotlight video. I am super pumped to be teaming up with one of my all-time favorite companies, Adam Hall, the people behind LD Systems, to be bringing you this product spotlight, this review on their brand new line of speakers, the LD Systems Maui 28G3. Super exciting day today, as today marks the official launch of 4 new speakers from LD Systems. Today they are also launching the little brother to the Maui 28, the Maui 11G3. Both systems being an equal opportunity system, meaning you can get them in both white and black. Today we are going to be taking a look at the black version of the Maui 28G3. This is the official successor to the previous model, the Maui 28G2, one of LD Systems, if not their biggest selling system. So this is a huge day, guys, as this is one of the most popular products that LD System makes. It's their best selling product, so this is their bread and butter. So I know you guys gotta be excited to see this, because I know a ton of people have these. If you guys are a long-time viewer of the channel, then you guys have already seen me review the bigger brother to these bad boys, the Maui 44s. This falls right in the middle. It's not their biggest column system, it's also not their smallest column system. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the Maui 28G3. So when you purchase the system, you're going to get 2 things, an instruction manual and an IEC. This speaker is powered via IEC, not PowerCon like the bigger brother. However, just like its big brother, it is composed of 3 pieces: the upper column, the bottom column, and the sub. As opposed to the previous version of the Maui 28, we now have a full-size 12-inch sub. The older model was 2 8-inch subs, so essentially they stacked them, one 8-inch on top and one 8-inch on bottom. Now you have a bigger dedicated sub, meaning you're gonna get deeper bass, and this thing drops down all the way down to 37 hertz. So you know it's gonna sound nice and juicy. It's gonna give you a nice full sound. When it comes to our columns, it's very similar to the Maui 44G2. Essentially, there are 6 3.5-inch drivers in each of our columns. So there's 2 columns, 6 speakers in each column, meaning you have a total of 12 speakers. You're also going to get LD Systems awesome engineering. They actually go in and individually program each of these speakers, each of these 12 speakers, to give you the best sound. Additionally, this is a column array system, not to be confused with a line array. I know a lot of guys call them line arrays. This is a column array. But if you guys are familiar with column arrays, you guys know that these things shoot sound very wide, as opposed to the big old fat boxes. These shoot sound really wide. What you're gonna get is 120 degrees of dispersion horizontally, and you're gonna get about 30 degrees when it comes to the vertical dispersion. So you're gonna get really wide dispersion of sound. I have the 44s, and they have similar specs, and let me just tell you, they sound great. Not only are you going to get nice rich sound on the dance floor, but on the rest of the ballroom as well. So you're going to get a great sounding speaker. Moving on to everybody's favorite part, and the question I get asked the most: bro, are these speakers loud? Do they bump? The answer is yes. So let me give you some specs. I know a lot of DJs don't really care much about everything else. They just want to know if it sounds good and if it's loud. So as far as wattage wise, we are talking 2060 watts. Now I know you guys are going to get mad if I don't tell you what the RMS is. The RMS is 10,000. 130. Now, I do want to mention, remember, wattage is not a measurement of sound. When a lot of people look at wattage, they're like, oh wow, 2,000 watts, that thing is super powerful. But keep in mind, that's not necessarily a measurement of sound. If we're talking about how loud these things get, they do have a max SPL of about 128 dBs. And for reference, if you're not in the know, 127 dBs, that's really freaking loud. I do want to mention, however, and be fully transparent with you guys, 127 dBs is peak. That doesn't mean that, you know, you're going to crank this thing all the way up and you're going to be getting 127 dBs of sound, you know, for an hour. That's not really how that measurement works. Keep in mind, whenever I do these reviews, I'm always super transparent. That means that at some point when you're rocking and you got everything at max level, you're redlining, and you're pushing these bad boys, these things will hit 127 dBs. Should you do that? Probably not. But keep in mind, 127 dBs, bros, that's really loud. Additionally, just like the previous systems, you can set these up in cardioid mode, meaning you can buy additional subwoofers if you feel you need a little bit more power. Now let's address the elephant in the room, because whenever I do these speaker videos, I just usually get two questions. Are they loud? And second of all, how much? So this is a very important question. Now, I do want to say I am not sure how much these speakers are going to retail for. Reason being is because I got these speakers 2 weeks before launch day. They're launching today, which means honestly I have no idea what they're going to be priced at. Now, if we're going by the previous model, it's probably going to be somewhere along the lines of the $1,500 range. That's for one speaker, meaning if you want a pair, you're going to be at around $3,000. Now, if you want the white versions, those are usually a little bit more expensive. Not anything crazy that's gonna break the bank, but I would say budget an extra $100 to $300 extra for that white model. That's usually how these companies structure their pricing. So all in the most expensive sense, I think you might be at around $35 once you start factoring in bags and covers and things of that nature. So all in, I would say safe bet for two speakers, you're gonna be around $35. Keep in mind, these are just rough estimates. I do believe that this speaker is going to be, you know, aggressively priced at $1,500. And honestly speaking, for what you're getting, it's a great deal. Now, if you guys are coming from the previous generation, what are some of the upgrades? What are some of the reasons you may want to get the G3 versus the G2? Now, straight off the bat, the first big one is it's more modern looking. Let's be frank. The older version, it looks dated. It's about a 5-year-old speaker. So it definitely looks its age. They've gone ahead and given it a more timeless look. I feel like this speaker is going to age a lot better than the G2 did, because the G2 just, you know, in my personal opinion, it just looks old. Additionally, as mentioned earlier, you're going to get a better sounding sub. You're just going to get all around better sound because they, you know, they've re-EQ'd everything. They've gone ahead, gone back to the drawing board and re-engineered it pretty much from the ground up, taking a couple of cues from the bigger brother, the Maui 44. Now, that doesn't mean that these speakers don't have its drawback. This speaker has no built-in mixer. They've gone super minimalist. They've taken the Apple approach. They've gotten rid of everything. Essentially, all you have is 2 inputs and volume knobs. That's it. If you're planning on using this as a speaker for your band, or if you're planning on using this for ceremonies where you need multiple microphones, or speaking engagements where you need multiple inputs, you're going to need an external mixer. A pro, however, is that you do still have Bluetooth. And now, let's take a look at the sub. Now, I will say, the specs that were sent to me says that this sub is about 50 pounds. It doesn't feel like it to me. It's honestly very light. It's a birch build. It's also got a brand new finish, so that's another difference between this one and the G2 version. The finish on this, way better, way nicer. Transport is super easy because they have a ton of handles. You have handles on either side. Additionally, on the top, if I show you here, you also have a handle here. All right, cool. I've gone ahead and plugged this bad boy in. Now let's go ahead and turn it on. So you have your on switch right here on the bottom. You have your 2 inputs. They're line level and they are XLR combo jacks, meaning you can go in with an XLR or a 1/4 inch. Additionally, you have through for left and right and a sub out. You have 2 additional buttons here on the back. and they're super straightforward. One is for cardioid if you're going to be adding an extra speaker. In addition, you have a button for Bluetooth. And then lastly, you have your volume knobs. One is for the sub, so you do get some low-end control, and then the other one is for your main, so the overall loudness of the speaker. And that's pretty much it. Super minimalist. This is a great speaker for DJs or smaller bands, because there's not a lot of gimmicks going on back here. Essentially, what you see is what you get. All right, so here we go. Let's assemble this bad boy. First, we have our bottom speaker, and then we have our upper speaker, or I should say column. So bottom column, top column, upper column, below column, I don't know. However you want to call it. The speaker itself stands about, I would say about just shy of 7 feet. I have about 8-foot ceilings, and it looks like about a feet still left. All right, without further ado, let's do our sound demo. Keep in mind, I'm going to have the sub at 3 o'clock, and I'm going to have the mains at 12 o'clock. So let's do it.
Another banger, baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown. 1600 block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna Dale hasta abajo que ese culo responde. Bebé, no te hagas, tú eres hombre. Yo sé. Maldito año nuevo. Y lo que me trajo, ey, me botaron del trabajo. Por estar mirando para abajo. Pensando.
Holy shit, guys. So as I mentioned earlier, there are essentially 12 speakers, and when you're standing really close to the speaker like I just was for this sound demo, you're really getting, like, you know, different sounds coming from each of those speakers. So you're getting almost like an orchestra of sound, if you will. So essentially, I'm hearing the vocals coming from the top, and then for that last song, the Adele song, I was noting that the melody, the piano notes were coming more over here, and then when like the bass line hits, they were coming from the sub, and it just sounds beautiful, absolutely beautiful. When you're really close to it, you really get that separation of sound, that separation of instruments, especially on more vocal songs like that Adele song. As you step out, you know, you get a fuller sound. Everything just kind of harmonizes in a beautiful way. It sounds stunning. Holy shit, guys, this speaker sounds really good. Before we get into it, I do want to give you a little disclaimer. Keep in mind, as with always, whenever we do these speaker demos, these speaker reviews, I always want to be fully transparent. You are not getting the true sound because you're essentially getting a recording from my camera. However, what can I say? How can I describe it? Honestly speaking, describing sound is super difficult. It's super subjective. However, for me personally, they sound awesome. LD Systems, they know what they're doing, guys. They make a quality product. It's not a cheap product by any means, but it's a great sounding product. The build, incredible. It's world-class stuff. Our sound engineers really know what they're doing. The sound sounds crisp. There's clear distinction between instruments. The sub is nice and punchy. But there is one caveat. If you guys are planning on using these for big events, they might not be the right speaker for you guys because they're just not a very loud speaker, and this is something that's true of all column arrays. Sound quality is there. It's apparent. It sounds good. However, if you're doing bigger events, this might not be the speaker for you. You might be better off upgrading to the Maui 44. However, if you're doing small scale events, if you're a solo op DJ, you're working events, crushing them on your own, then this is a great solid buy. It's gonna sound great and it's definitely gonna impress people, trust me. But do keep in mind that this is all relative and it necessarily doesn't have to be the people that you're DJing for. So, you know, it could definitely do a party for 150 people, but some things to take into consideration is the size of the room. Sometimes the size of the room is more important than how many people you're actually playing for, how that room holds sound. If you're torn between which speaker to get, you know, you might want to consider, like, what kind of venues are you playing in? What are the usual size of my events? Honestly speaking, I think it's a solid speaker for people who are crushing, you know, events from 80 to 120 guests. If you're a musician or if you're going to be using this for live sound, for like restaurants, or if you're going to be doing like some back end stuff, this is going to be a solid solid speaker. No need to go to the 44. You're gonna be, you know, well off with this. And lastly, if you need a lot of inputs, if you're doing stuff where you need, like, you know, a ton of inputs, or maybe you want a dedicated EQ, this might not be the speaker. That's an easy fix. You can easily get like a $50 to $100 mixer. Not a deal breaker, but something that you should know. I do want to mention, however, that LD Systems is expected to release a version of this speaker with a built-in mixer.
The Maui G3 Mix versions will be available in the beginning of 2024 and will offer many exciting features. Maui G3 Mix will feature a 6-channel mixer, app control, onboard effects, a foot switch input, and the brand new Syslink function.
Bros, thank you so much for watching this review on the Maui 28 G3. I think LD Systems really hit gold with this. Their previous model was already one of their best-selling speaker, and I think that this one is probably gonna beat that one just because it looks great, sounds great. Also, they're going all in with this. I was recently in New York City and I saw that they bought billboards for this freaking speaker. Woohoo! Get me in that. Wait. So much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like it, be sure to subscribe if you're new around here, and don't forget to turn on that bell so that you can be notified next time we do another speaker review video. Thank you so much to my good friends over at Adam Hall LD Systems for sending these speakers over for review, and I'll catch you guys on my next one. Peace.